We wake up every day and follow a very specific set of instructions. We chase an ever-growing pile of wealth, we obsessively track the latest tech trends to make sure we don't fall behind, and we actively participate in a never-ending cycle of digital culture wars. Society gives us a simple guarantee. If you cross the designated finish line of high status and financial accumulation, your reward is pure, uninterrupted happiness. Yet, look at the reality around us. You're more technologically advanced and globally connected than any human beings in history, and our baseline condition is often defined by a quiet, persistent anxiety and chronically low self-esteem. Curious, leaning in, it begs an obvious question. What is the actual, hidden cost of this specific version of success? Why does getting exactly what we are told to want so consistently make us miserable? The truth is, we aren't failing at the game of life. We follow the instructions perfectly. But the rule book we were handed is broken, and it completely ignores the harsh realities of human nature. The standard hustle mindset demands a heavy upfront payment. You are expected to trade your youth, your free time, and a significant portion of your mental health today in exchange for a massive payout of wealth tomorrow. This graph shows how these two variables typically interact. Sacrificing your baseline happiness to get rich is a mathematically flawed equation. That rising line of external wealth is excellent at buying physical freedom, but it cannot purchase internal peace. Once that wealth is acquired, the math changes depending on how you spend it. If you convert wealth into time freedom, it pulls your happiness upward. But if you channel that same wealth into status chasing, you get a brief spike before the line drags your happiness even further into the negative. This disconnect creates a psychological trap. We attempt to solve the internal problem of self-worth by stacking external markers, money, titles, or luxury, on top of it, only to find the foundation beneath them hasn't moved. Wealth is a mandatory, highly effective tool for securing your physical independence, but it is completely useless as a cure for internal unhappiness. There is a massive, silent drain on our daily mental energy. We exhaust ourselves living for the validation of others, and we allow our attention to be consumed by outrage cycles and external conflicts. The entrepreneur Naval Ravikant proposes a counterintuitive response to this exhaustion: unapologetic selfishness. We are taught that pleasing others is the ultimate virtue, but from a purely mechanical standpoint, you cannot sustain a high-performing, impactful life if your own energy reserves are constantly running on empty. Look at this central note here, representing your personal energy. Fiercely protecting your time and attention by cutting off those drains isn't a moral failing. It is a structural necessity to keep the core functioning. Mastering healthy, unapologetic selfishness ensures you actually have the physical and mental bandwidth required to build a sustainable life. Then there is the heaviest and most uncomfortable truth of human nature we have to face: our inescapable, impending mortality. Confronting the reality of death acts as an ultimate filter. It instantly burns away the trivial pursuits, the manufactured anxieties, and the artificial pressures society places on us. Processing your grief and fear through this specific filter changes their chemistry. Mortality transforms from a lingering source of dread into a sharp, clarifying lens that forces you to prioritize. This stark awareness strips away the luxury of procrastination. It demands that you define what a life well lived looks like right now, today, rather than deferring your happiness to a hypothetical future that isn't guaranteed. Acknowledging that our time is strictly limited makes society's infinite games look suddenly absurd. It shifts the focus away from hypothetical futures and toward the few things that carry actual weight. True success doesn't require avoiding the harsh realities of human nature. It requires utilizing them as a daily compass. If Naval Ravikant could send one piece of advice back to his younger self, it would be this: you absolutely do not have to sacrifice your baseline happiness to achieve significant success. The objective corrects itself. The goal is no longer the infinite accumulation of wealth and status. The goal is strictly financial independence, secured specifically to buy back your time. You protect that time through the daily practice of healthy selfishness, and you keep it in perspective through a peaceful acceptance of your own mortality. By throwing out a flawed rulebook and embracing the discomfort of these realities, you stop exhausting yourself in an unwinnable race. You finally gain the freedom to design a game you can actually win.